Hide that one. All right. Hey there, I am Sensei Mish, and welcome to another Dojo Chat. I am with talking to Tom Gallo today. He is chief instructor at Tactics Martial Arts in New York. Tom, thank you for being on this morning.
Thank you.
So tell the audience a little bit about yourself.
My name is Tom Gallo, like you said. I have a school of tactics martial arts in Long Island, New York. I started training in, I believe it was 1989 in Hwarangdo. I followed that with some FMA, probably late 90s. I did a few different FMA systems on that. Became an instructor in a couple. I started Kyusho probably officially, I guess, around 2007, but I was researching it on my own before I joined Kyusho International. Early 90s, when Earl Montague hit the scene and put all his books out and his videos where he goes, "This is dangerous, don't do this," and then he does it. It's so weird. He hits the guy falls down, screen goes blank, and then you guys back up. But don't do that. So
Yeah,
he was an interesting character. And that's it. I did some Tai Chi, some Chen style Tai Chi, a little bit of Silat, But officially, I would say it was Hwarangdo, Kyusho, and FMA.
right on.
And some other things.
Okay. So your school in Long Island, is that your full-time school, or do you do something on the side as a 40-hour gig?
40 hours is a school.
Well, no, but what I mean, like, I have a school, but I have a 40-hour gig on the side. That I call that my side gig.
Yeah. You mean something that actually brings in money? Yes, I have an aquarium maintenance business, which
Okay.
was a 40-hour gig, but kind of died down thanks to the pandemic.
Yeah.
That was my main thing. I go around, I set up clean aquariums in businesses and homes.
Okay. That's kind of cool.
It's fun. Yeah, it's creative.
So what sparked you to open up your school?
I like teaching.
Yeah.
And I was teaching out of a gym or a karate school, and I wasn't getting a good following because of the times I was allowed.
Right.
So I was like, I need my own place. So it just happened to fall right into place, a couple of blocks from my house, something I could afford, and jumped in. And we're like the only people. I'm the only person in the area that does what I do. Surrounded by all your other normal schools.
Okay. So how many schools are in your area?
A lot. I think the closest one actually now is about about a mile away.
Okay.
Because they just moved. But we have Kempo, karate, taekwondo, Hapkido, a couple of MMAs. There's like one or two BJJs around.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a lot. Too
Okay.
many. Too many for me. I should be the only one. They can be the only one.
That's good. So what kind of got you? I mean, you said you started, so talking about Kyusho, and I like talking about Kyusho because, it is the official fake martial art. But, I was,
That stuff doesn't work.
Yeah. Yeah. I got into it early on. I think it was, I don't know, 91, 92-ish, something like that. I think that's when, George originally visited our area in about 92, I think. I can't remember. But can't remember where I was going though. But okay, so you said that you kind of started investigating it, with Earl Montague, and then you ended up joining Kyusho International. What kind of stuck out to you with that the other martial arts weren't giving you, or did you feel that way?
It was. I felt like it enhanced what you did. It made what you actually work. Because you like I learned like in Wonangdo I learned nerve strikes, and then like a year later they're calling it pressure points. I don't know why it switched, but we learned where to hit. But don't hit there. So we learned where to hit, and you hit him, and yeah, it hurt, right? But then you see Dillman and Montague, who were basically the spotlights at the time, hitting people the same way and getting this crazy reaction. And you're like, all right, I'm missing something. What's the deal? And then, you start researching. You're like, it's there.
Mm-hmm.
Why am I not getting that reaction? So you seek out an instructor. But it's. I guess it piqued me like because it just made what I was doing better.
Okay, so devil's advocate here, because I get this sometimes, is that, and like from my perspective with Kyusho Corner, just like what you just said, it enhances what you do, but it's like, okay, well, maybe you're just doing the technique wrong.
Right.
Like if you do the technique right, it'll work. You don't, pressure points are fake. Don't. So how do you respond to that?
Okay, so when I hit someone, like so in FMA we have gunting.
Okay.
So I'm in class. I'm in this a knife class, and we're doing this gunting, and they're hitting, boom, 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 and ow, it hurts because you're hitting the ulnar nerve, and the ulnar nerve is very exposed, or you're hitting the bicep, and ow, I hit my muscle. I go and do it. Knife goes flying out of the hand. Guy's on the floor in pain. I didn't do anything different than them, did I? Yeah, I hit it a different way. So
right.
It's not that this is wrong. This is better. Did you see the difference?
Yeah, no, I totally get it.
There was a difference. It's just, when people do that to me, they're like, maybe you're doing it wrong. Okay, do it right to me, and then let me add the Kyusho to it and see if you see a difference. And I'll say, don't hit as hard, and see if you get a better reaction. People have to feel it and see it. Most people that judge are, keyboard warriors, or the guys that sit there going, my martial art is the best. If I'm not taught it, then it doesn't need to be learned, and it sucks. Can I say that? Can I say sucks?
Oh yeah, you can. I am so even okay. I might have 1,100 people on YouTube, but I've got only, I think the last time I checked, I'm only at maybe 1,090 watch hours. So I'm way far away from monetization. So I'm in no, like, I'm not going to lose any monetization if you want to drop the F-bomb or something.
Oh, okay. So, I'll control myself on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's so many haters out there, and I'll get people that you also get the people that say, oh, I already do that. And then I say, okay, do it. And they hit you and you're like, no, but there are a percentage that hit you and you go, yeah, that was good.
Right.
It's, how do you deal with it? I'll go to you.
I at first I kind of stuck, of course, being online, I've got my show and I've got other stuff. I took stuff personally at the beginning, because it's like, why don't you get this? Like, it's like, it's so obvious, because it's so obvious to me, but it's one of those things where I just started ignoring them. And I almost look at it as like, and I did a journey episode about this, about some guy who had just on Instagram, I think I had posted something, and all of a sudden he's just like, you're a fake martial artist, and just, calling me fat and all this different stuff. And then he had, I don't do it a lot. I want to do it more, but I had posted like a 30-second clip of me showing stomach 21, or was it 25? And I strike down. It's my son. He kind of bellies over, and I'm just showing the activation of the point. The 45 degrees in and all that kind of stuff. And I'm just like, well, have you tried it? That's usually my response. Have you tried it? Because at the end of all my episodes, I'm like, you're, take this back to your dojo, play, have fun, be good to Yuki. Because maybe you might find something that does work.
Right.
Maybe you find something that doesn't work. That's fine. There's some things where, people have shown me, hey, this is great for me. I can't get it to work. Okay. And even Pentazzi, he said, the gallbladder triangle, said it took him 6 years to figure that out.
Yeah.
Or something like that. It took him forever to figure it out. Okay. Maybe it's like, if you really want this thing if you really want to figure it out, then try and figure it out. Right. But if you're just one of those non-believers, then just be a non-believer. That's fine. Just don't dog on other people. So usually it's just like, when I get those haters, I'll either ignore them or decide to play with them. It's like, like, oh, I'm going to have fun today.
There was a video out of a bunch of guys doing gallbladder 20 and, proving that it didn't work.
Right.
You go into the mindset that it doesn't work, you're not going to get it to work, and they're trying to copy what they see, and you could see the way they're moving that they have no understanding of it. So you try it and you try to get it to work, but you can't dismiss it. If you go in the mindset going, this isn't going to work, it's not going to work, until you bash the guy in the head.
I think one of the things that frustrates me the most is, like, you get those people, and I can't remember the guy's name. I remember his nickname. He's called the Human Stun Gun. I don't know his name. I've never met the guy personally, but he's been on the news, and he's been on, I think it was even on the Steve Harvey show.
Yes. Yeah.
And
this little kid. He had a little kid with him.
I don't know if he had a little kid with him. He there is this video of him with this younger person, and he's teaching a no touch, and I know a lot of the videos out there that knock on Kyusho, they really focus on the no touch, but I think what really people have to understand is it's not combat applicable.
Right.
Like it's a demo. Like, even with my Vulcan nerve pinch, I might attempt that in a real situation, but I'm only going to attempt it in a real situation if I know I can probably get away with it.
Mm-hmm.
And if it doesn't work, I'm going to have a backup, but I'm not going to be like, this is the technique that's going to end the fight. No, it's not. Like, I've only been studying this for, I've only been focusing on this for like 20 years, but I haven't been dedicating all 20 years to this technique. So no, it's not going to work.
Right.
So yeah, I think it's funny, but it frustrates me when people promote stuff like that, that this is the end all be all.
Right.
And it's not. It's, they work, but it has to be in the right context.
Right.
So,
and it's like
even Harvey. Do you know Harvey Hondit?
No.
Okay, so he's part of the HKI. He actually lives a little bit north of me. Harvey's a great guy. If you ever get a chance to meet him, he's an awesome guy. But he, just like you said, gotta feel it. Pain makes believers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely. Yeah, and you get, anything in the martial arts there's no end all technique. And you always have to have a backup plan. No matter what it is. If you punch the guy in the face, It's not going to guarantee he's going to go down. I've gotten punched in the face, I didn't go down. I've gotten punched in the face, I've gone down. So you always have to follow up with something. So if I go to touch you like this and you don't fall down, I can't hit you, stand back and go, why aren't you on the floor? Because it doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I call my school a sterile environment, because you know what's coming at you, for on basic training, not when you do the realistic stuff. So you know what's coming. You're training the technique. You know what's coming at you, and you're working, you're hitting it, and oh look, I get it to work 20 times out of 25 times. This is awesome. But then you throw in a couple other guys or faster movements. The guy moved out of the way, and now it's not working because you're only focusing on this one thing. You have to have that backup plan.
Yeah. I think, and I don't know, I don't know some of these people's history, but all I know is that when I started bouncing, I mean, the first fight I got into, and I had been in fights before, but this was like uncontrolled, you're in that big crowd environment. I went home and scratched. Yeah.
Hold on one second. Sorry about this. It goes
no worries.
Block. I get food delivery here from my neighbors all the time. So Grubhub or whoever walks in and they just handed a bag of food. He didn't realize it goes to my neighbors. I could eat for free. Like crazy. So I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, damn you for being honest.
I know.
Shoot, where's my thought process on that one? I can't remember my thought process on that. Shoot.
And I lost it too.
It is what it is. I don't know. Maybe it's. And I got a good rest last night.
You need a big cup of Joe.
See, and I don't. Okay, so I don't drink coffee. I don't drink coffee, but I do drink tea. I drink tea. And when Bram's out here, I have to make sure that there's either coffee in the house or that I go get coffee. So like when he was here this last time, there's we have a little drive-through coffee place. It's not prevalent on the East Coast, but it's very prevalent on the West Coast. It's Dutch Brothers.
Mm-hmm.
So so I went through and they have their own version of Cafe Cubano. And so now I know how to order a Cafe Cubano through Dutch. So it's to Bram's liking. So every morning I'd get up, I'd drive over there, get him a Cafe Cubano, bring it back. Yeah.
He's funny with
funny. So, okay. Well, speaking of Bram, I mean, we can go back to Kyusho and all that kind of stuff, but, when did you find him? How did you find him? What did it?
I was in Clearwater, Florida at a NAPMA convention with my instructor, and he was demoing. He had a table and he was demoing the crimp.
Okay.
And we stopped and we're checking it out, and he takes my instructor, he starts flipping him around, doing all these locks, and as he's doing, he's talking, and I was like, this is amazing. And that was probably like 1991.
Okay.
And at that time, I'm like, I got to buy one. And it took me until last year to actually get one. But I followed him, his videos and stuff through the years. But he just started talking about, his video about how he didn't feel himself. So I just made a video and said he must be a clone or whatever. And then boom, the whole thing takes off about skin jobs and cybernet. It went crazy. And then we just developed a friendship, and I said, let's do this crimp finally after 20 years.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that's cool. So you did a after, I don't know how long you'd been doing the online stuff with him, but you kind of, was it strictly a crimped seminar, or what did you do at your place recently?
We did. We introduced the crimp through a self-defense workshop
Okay.
where we incorporated um, joint locks, some kyusho, and the crimp. Uh, Pretty much everybody, I think, bought their own crimp prior to the workshop because they got so excited about this tool. Is that on long enough?
Yeah.
So we did, because a lot of people aren't familiar with locks and nerve strikes, and it's in the crimped curriculum where you're doing arm bars and hitting nerves. So we just did little segments in 3 hours, so showed some locks, nerve strikes, and then we added the crimp. But it was basically focused on the crimp,
Cool.
the curriculum. And the,
Right
the
on.
fun part was Tack Knife sent us the compressors.
Okay. Yeah.
This is infomercial today, and I didn't pull them out until I don't know what, about an hour and a half into it. So I had them feel what it's like to use the crimp and get hit with it, and how it works.
Right.
And then when I pulled out the orange compressors, everyone's like, "Oh, relief!" Then they started to get a little more aggressive with it, which is cool.
Right on. Yeah, I have both both a closed version and an open version of the orange tack stuff. So, yep, get those at tackknife.com. Or is it tack.com? What's the website on that? I can't remember.
I think it's tackknife.com. Yeah, tackknife.com.
I
got a card. I'll hold up one of their cards.
Yeah, why don't you do that?
All right.
Not sponsored, but I want to promote his product because he's a cool guy. Makes good stuff.
Tackknife.com. Where's my camera? I can't even do this.
Oh yeah, tackknife.com.
Tackknife.com.
The unofficial sponsor of DojoChat. Doesn't even know that he's sponsoring us. Cool. No, he makes good products.
Yes.
So we had been using Bram has this roll-up bag of drones, of his Abanico drones. And so and there are most of them, some of them are just like the Black Delron, but a large majority of them are these Tack Knife clear plastic or sandblasted plastic almost with red handles. So they're always pretty cool. They're always nice to work because they just feel so natural in your hand.
Yeah.
And even though those orange ones, even though they're thicker than the actual tool, they just naturally fit into your hand and it's easy to work with.
Yeah, they did a great job with it.
Yeah.
They really did.
Bram was very impressed with it. So
yeah.
So I actually make my these are let's see, there we go. Handmade.
Oh, nice.
I prefer wooden stuff, so I made my own wooden drones. But so are you coming out in July for the birthday camp? Got to promote the birthday camp.
Yes. It's an amazing event. If I can't, I'm definitely Zooming it.
Okay.
Yeah. We'll see how the world goes.
Well, we're going to, and it's funny because Bram and I have talked about this for years, that we'll probably do it until he dies. And then even after that, we'll probably have a memorial camp where basically instructors from around will just teach what he's done.
Nice.
So, but his family has a history of long life, so he'll be around for a while, no matter what he says. So.
It's the Cafe Cubano that's keeping him alive.
Yeah. Well, it's also that he's just really a Cyberdyne Systems model. What TK13 is that?
T13. T13.
T13.
He's the one of the now or the future.
I don't know. He has in May 1st, I'm going to have him on, and we're going to talk about the genesis and who's creating all these different creatures, because he hasn't. I don't know if he's made a. He even has a Moses TK1 or T13. So
my last video, I said no. I said there's only one, and he's just dressing them up. But he says no. There's a multiple ones. I said I still think you're dressing up T13.
That's funny. So when it comes to the state of martial arts and just kind of in general, like we've got here's a question. I'll go in a different direction. So like Kyusho in my area. So it was really big, I felt, at one time. George was coming out, Sensei Dillman was coming out every year, every couple of years. We've had Hogan out here, Ian Wyatt's come out. I've had Mark Klein out. But it just seems, at least for me, that the interest is just kind of dying down. Like when Dillman was coming out, boom. Like I even told George this back in 2005. I told him I went out to Connecticut to see him. And I was like, look, you haven't been out here in a while. I know I'm a junior, junior affiliate, but just like, and I used the Field of Dreams term. I was like, host Dillman and they will come. I was like, just come out, and I'll make it work. And he's like, no, I'm talking with Scott. Scott's going to have me out. Cause at the time Scott was the senior out here, and Scott Rohr. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, I was like, okay. But I don't know. It just seems like in the area, it's just kind of dying out. With you, have you always just been associated with Kyusho International, or, I mean, how is Kyusho in your area been?
It's too many non-believers. It's small. Yeah. I tried running a Kyusho summit every year, and I did it 9 years, I think. Last year was my 10th year, and it built a little bit, but it never really got a huge following. I got more people from Canada than I did from the US. And most of the Kyusho guys were my students, a couple from California, but nothing huge. Even when Korn and Klein were involved, it still wasn't. It was like there, but it never really exploded here. Europe, forget about it.
It's all over the place.
Insane. I went to the IKC, and you have 100. I'm teaching in front of 100 people. I was like, I never taught in front of 100 people. I have to speak loudly. It's crazy because you get the countries, they bring 15 people each country, 20 people each country. You get huge. Here you get, bring a student. You get study group leaders or instructors. Bring a student. You're lucky if they bring a student.
Yeah.
It's weird. I just can't. It doesn't seem to get momentum. And what's big around here is MMA. If it doesn't work in the ring, it doesn't work. Well, Kyusho is in the ring if you really look at it. The guy gets knocked out with a light touch, but he barely hit him and he's out. Why? Because he hit a freaking Kyusho point. That's why, you idiot. I mean, sir.
Yeah.
But the non-belief, you have to rock and you have to hit them and ground and pound for things to work. You have to choke them out, and that's the mentality. And it's frustrating. It is.
Yeah. Here, I think I noticed the die out when George really started promoting the no touch stuff. Yeah, that's when a lot of people were like, okay, dude, you had us at the knockout, but this is a little bit too much,
Yeah.
you know. And I think that's really when started. But I've had Mark out and Mark Klein, but it's the first time I had him out, there was a lot of people. I mean, not a lot, but I mean, we had a lot of people for that. I think that was one of the first seminars I really promoted myself, and but it's always just kind of dwindled from there. And I don't know why. I was like, okay, well, is it just they went to a seminar and they were like, great, this is all I ever need, or is it my personality, or is it Klein's personality, or is it they're that was like, okay, that was really nice, but I'm going to go back to what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So
people are set in their ways. They'll look at something, but they don't want to work to put it into what they do. Like you said, you work something for 20 years and you finally get it. People don't want it. Well, Evan with his gallbladder cluster for 6, 7 years, people don't want to do that. They want to. I've been a martial artist for 20 years. I should be able to pick this up in 3 hours. Yeah, they don't want to put the work in.
Right.
And a lot of people I find that come and try it here, they go at the end of the class, they're like, this is great. And then you never see them again because they don't like the pain. They're not, a lot of martial artists aren't used to getting hit. And, I tell them, I say, it's like hitting your funny bone all over your body. That's the kind of feeling you'll probably get. And they don't like that. I had a kickboxer guy, tough guy. I can take this, blah, 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 blah. I hit him stomach 15. He like almost cried. It's just like, you're a kickboxer. You tell me how great you are. You're under Joe Louis. And I hit you, I tap you here and your legs buckled. I didn't even knock him down. I just buckled his legs. He didn't like the way you felt. I never saw him again.
Yeah, I think the most extreme that I've experienced is early on. I did my students and we did knockout days. So once a month we would the stuff that we were in theory. It's like okay, well, if we put these in, we'll just try different knockouts. And so like we'd watch some of George's tapes and try and recreate those, or just come up with some of our own. And we just turn on the video camera and just beat each other. We were having fun. It was just a great time. So this one guy is like, hey, I've heard about you. I want to come and watch and possibly join. I was like, sure, come on in. No problem. So he came in and he sat there and, cause he wanted a hard style martial art. I was like, sweet, we're kind of right there. It doesn't get harder than getting hit. So he's just ecstatic at the end of the class. He's like, God, this was just so impressive. And I want to do this. And, he paid 3 months up front. I gave him a uniform. And I said, well, next class is, on Tuesday. And he's like, okay, I'll see you then. And I never saw him again. And then he had, what was it? I think it was maybe about, and I didn't see him Tuesday, and you get that, it's like, okay, well, maybe he forgot, he's new to this. So, when Thursday came around and he still didn't show up, I gave him a call and left a message. And so I think it was that next Monday, I get a package in the mail, and it's the gi that I had given him. And there's this letter. It's like, I'm really sorry. I thought I wanted a hard style, but I don't want that hard. I was impressed with what you were giving, but I just don't think this is for me. I know, cause he gave me his credit card number to run for 3 months. And he's like, I know I signed this, you can still charge me if you want. Cause I want to honor the contract, but just, I just not coming back. And I was just like, oh, okay, well, and I was like, I'm not even going to run it. I mean, the guy didn't, he showed up, left. But I just thought that was just like that. So that's the most extreme that I've had. This guy was so excited, and he's like, "I'm going to sign on. I'm going to pay right now." And then, a week and a half later, I get his gi in the mail. So.
Yeah, I wonder what was through his head when he was thinking about it.
I don't know. Because honestly, half the knockouts didn't work. We were just playing. We were just like, hey, maybe this will work. Okay, well, it didn't.
Yeah. I get people coming in, they're like, I'm glad I found a place that teaches Kyusho. I want to knock people out. I was like, well, let's start with being able to hit the target first, and then we'll worry about everything else. And I tell them, I said, a knockout's like a birthday present. Happy birthday, I knocked him out. I said, just worry about hitting him, and then we'll see what happens. And they can't even get past the hitting, so they don't want to deal with it. People are strange.
Well, they what's that one line? It's something about the amount of people that make it to black belt. It's like 110 or 101 in, or was it 1 in 10,000 people make it to black belt?
Right.
And is it because, and on the side, I don't know if you know the name Brandon Beliso. He's has a school in San Francisco. So I'm part of a mentor group that he's got going for business and building martial arts schools, which I highly suggest to anybody who's watching this who really wants to build their school. But there was something that one of the questions that he has posed is, why aren't more people taking martial arts just in general? And don't know, because when I was younger, like everybody I knew was taking soccer. There was everybody, a lot of people were taking tennis. Like my cousins, they had like a sport for every season, and but not martial arts. And it's like, okay, well, a lot of people start martial arts because they want to get that black belt. They put the black belt on the resume because they accomplished something, and then they're good to go. They don't go any further. And then there's weirdos like you and me who we do it because it's fun. like getting a belt is, that's great acknowledgement for the work that we've put in. And it is kind of an ego boost, but really we just do it because it's fun. Like, oh, I can knock somebody out if I hit those points. Let me try. Oh, no. Try it on me. I want to feel it. Like, dude. So, and I don't know if it's that, shoot, I can't remember the guy's name. Lieutenant Dave Grossman. He talks about, the top 2%. You've got 98% of the population that just, we're not going to call them, like, some of them are sheep, but you've just got 98% of the population that's just going to be there. They're just, they might get involved. They might, they're not necessarily sheep, but they're more followers. Okay. Then you've got the top 2%, where 1%, or, half of the 2% are the sheepdogs, and the other half are the wolves. So, and I wonder if those like you and me fall into that too, and Bram and George and Evan and Klein and Corn, all those, all these people that have made martial arts their life in some shape or form, if we're just part of that 2%.
Right.
And that, and that, the other 98%, it's just, we've got, they go out there and try it. They do it for a resume, or they, it's like, oh, it'll be fun to, let's take a class and see if we like it or not. and then they're like, not for me, you know.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I'm curious, but getting part of that 2% to stay, or getting part of that 98% to stay and become part of the 2%, can that be changed through more training in martial arts? More, I don't know. It's that, I don't know. I see it as that mystical question, is there a dog?
Yeah, it's frustrating as an instructor or school owner when you have these people come in and they show promise and they're doing great, and then all of a sudden they just stop, or they get their black belt and they leave, or they get up to their black belt and then they quit. It's just like, why? Why aren't you like me? Why don't you want to live to this? Make it your life, damn it. Be insane like us. But yeah, we are a small percentage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I was talking to Dan Anderson the other day, and he was talking about how if given the right circumstances, he would have, his normal classes, and then he would just have this side class that it's like, okay, we're going to have our classes for everybody else. The art's not going to be diminished, but it's going to be, a little bit watered down. It's going to take a little bit longer. It's things are going to be set in place. But then there's going to be this other class where it's going to be hardcore, where it's just going to be like, we're not going to be nice to you. We may not use nice words. You might actually sweat blood, but it's going to be like, okay, we're going to do 100 side kicks. Start now. We're going to do 100 push-ups. Oh, you can't do 10? That's okay. You'll be doing 100 by the end of the class. But it's just one of those things where it's just like, he like training back in the day. And I know he trained harder than I did. I mean, I tease him, he got his black belt before I was even born. but it's that time where, it took 8-9 years to get a black belt, and you really had to work for it. And it wasn't just, it's like, okay, you learn a sequence and great, you get a stripe. It was, no, you sat there and did a front punch 100 times. And even, 100 had to look better than number 1.
Right.
So I was like, that's a really good idea. I think I'm going to steal that, because you might get that 2% that they don't get into the martial arts because it's too kid friendly or too foo-foo or whatever. They just want to train hard. And maybe that's the ones that are more gravitated towards Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, because that's more associated with the MMA, which is on TV and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
So I don't know, just some of my weird theories.
Yeah, and I was talking to someone, a friend of mine who's been studying about 15 years, and he was saying, unless you're a Taekwondo school, you're not going to get your 500 students, and to do a bunch of kicks and get their black belt in a year, and you're not going to get all those students, because I was saying how I'll get people come in, and because what do? I play with sticks and I hit people and they fall down, and it's simple stuff, and sometimes we get fancy, but it's not that normal what they're used to seeing in the Taekwondo school and the kids grow up in, and and then you have that end, and you have the MMA end where you get the testosterone driven martial artists, no offense guys, and it's I don't know. He was just saying his school is a little more hardcore. I don't even remember what it was. It was some strange thing. I'm sorry about that one. But he's like, we don't have a lot of students because we're very hardcore. He goes, unless you're even like a karate school, typical commercial karate school, you get more students into that. The name, it's not, the parents put the kids in because they don't think they're going to get destroyed, but they'll still learn how to defend themselves. I don't know. I'm just blabbering because it's a very confusing subject of why people don't join, or when they do, why they leave. It's frustrating.
Well, we actually have some viewers. Our viewers, what do you think? Why don't you put it in the comments?
People are watching us.
Yeah.
It's Saturday. Well, it's 1:45 here. What are they doing? Go out, have a good time.
Because they're tuning in for you, Tom.
I doubt that.
Okay, they're tuning in for me. I don't know.
They're tuning in for you.
I'm nobody.
You're the man.
Just like when I originally reached out to you to be on the show,
right?
You're like, me? Why me? I'm not interesting. And it's like, that's okay. We can be mediocre together.
That's right.
Because honestly, I think I've done some pretty cool things and met some pretty cool people in my life. But honestly, I'm not that interesting.
Exactly. I told that to my students. They're like, "No, you're really interesting." I was like, "Well, how? I teach martial arts. I clean fish tanks. I play saxophone. I'm not interesting." But you think about it. My wife yells at me too. She goes, "Think of all the stuff you've accomplished over the years in the arts." I guess so. I guess there's some type of interest.
Yeah.
I have one. It's like when your students they'll tell a story to someone that happened in class, and you sit there going, "I don't remember flying 20 feet in the air." Yeah. How did that happen? So I always say legends are made by their students. The students take the instructor and make the legend out of him. The guy didn't fight 500 people with machetes and he only had a screwdriver. He was probably fixing something and the guy came up with a butter knife, and next thing you know, my instructor took this guy on, then 500 people came out of nowhere and they all had machetes and samurai swords. It's like, no, I was screwing in a screw that came out of the door and some guy offered me a butter knife that was better. So everything gets blown out of proportion. So I guess we can make ourselves interesting too.
Yeah.
The two of us, we don't have to be mediocre.
Well, it's funny because I'm applying for Survivor, and I applied for Survivor like 19 years ago, and I actually I found the video, and it's a little bit cringeworthy, but just knowing how I am on camera now compared to how I was back then, I watched it and I'm just like, I wouldn't have picked me to be on the show. Just like, so I don't know. I thought that's because I watched it the other day. I was like, oh, I found the video. So I brought it in and we watched it, and I was just like, Mr. No Personality. But I'm telling my supervisor that, I'm applying for Survivor, and, I'm going to use some of the, I had thought about using some of the ways basically I had not been fired from the hospital system I work for because of my, I don't know, just me being me, voicing my opinion when not asked, being very brutally honest when, telling people what they don't want to hear, but it's the truth. And having not been fired. And so, and I said, and for some reason at the same time, people love me, like to go to this, and like, I'm teaching at Corm's camp next weekend. So I have to get the days off. I had to trade with somebody. So I'm working doubles on Tuesday and Tuesday, Wednesday. And so I'm working back at the hospital I'd spent like 12 years at, and people were really excited to work with me. And so we're talking about this, and he goes, well, Mish, you're just really personable. I'm like, how am I personable? I'm an asshole. Like, I don't get it. So I don't know. I guess the perceptions of ourselves are different than the perceptions of others.
Yes.
So maybe others find us interesting and exciting, and we're just like, whatever,
I go to work, I come home, I go teach class, I go home, I eat, I go to bed. What's interesting? But somewhere in there is
maybe it's because they aren't doing what we're doing. Because we've always had, maybe not our heroes or idols that we would put them in that perspective, but that we have these people that we kind of look up to, be, God, I wish I could do that too. Or that's my goal, like to, be able to, like for me, I've always wanted to own a brick and mortar school and that just be my job, that my career. That's all I want to do. But, it's having a family and having all these other financial responsibilities that doing that, I would need a bigger cushion than what I've been, up to. Now I've just been like, screw it. This is what I'm going to do. This is my goal. But I've been told by a ton of people, like, dude, you're teaching out of your garage. Isn't that enough? I was like, for me, no. I'd like to be like the Dan Anderson and, Brandon Bliso. And, I'd like to be those people that have that brick and mortar and that's just that's their career.
Yeah.
Because that's who I identify with. But unfortunately, identifying with something and being something is a little bit different. So, oh, wait a minute. Now I've just canceled myself.
I've been told, like, when it got rough here, and I'm like, I don't know if we're going to be able to stay open. And the student's like, well, teach in your backyard. It's like, no, I don't want to teach in my backyard. I want to teach at a school. I want to have mats. I want to have equipment. I want to have a door I unlock and lock. It's a place. It's a training hall.
Right.
I've done the backyard. I've done my garage. And I basically the goal was to get enough students to open up a school. Right. That didn't happen, so I just opened up one anyway. But it's if I had to, and I told him, I said, if I close the door, I'm not teaching anymore, and that freaked them all. But thank God I've been holding. We've been holding our own and staying open.
Well, that's good.
Of my friends have closed their schools, unfortunately.
Yeah, there's I have a friend. I have a couple of friends who have lost their schools. And it's just, money hasn't been there for some people because they've lost their jobs and they can't pay for classes anymore. Pandemic has really, really hit us hard. I don't know what the actual statistic is. And like for Washington, state of Washington, they kind of lump for statistics on reopening, I guess. We're kind of lumped in with gyms. So, but when it comes to the statistics of gyms closing and never opening again, it's like 50%.
Right.
So if we take that and we look at, a martial arts studio being considered a gym in some states, that's, 50% of us have closed.
Yeah.
So now it's just our job to pick up where other school, it's like, oh, have you lost your school? Come train with me.
Right. Yeah, I'm waiting for those people.
You're waiting for those people. So, okay. So you mentioned, and honestly, this is one of those things for me. I've been one of those. It's like, okay, well, I want X number of students so I can have my base, like I have enough students now where I'm able to put a little bit of money aside, but not enough where the income coming in pays for a spot, even if it's one of those like commercial roll up door places.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm thinking, okay, well, I have that magic number in my head of the number of students that will allow me to take that next step, whether it's in 6 months or in 12 months or whatever. You said you didn't, that was kind of your same plan. I get enough students, then I open up the school, but you were just like, that didn't happen. So you just opened up a school. How long did it take you to get to just make that decision? I mean, was it one of those where you just kind of fought with it and then you just was like, screw it, I'm just going to do it because this is what I want to do, or what?
Yeah, I said, um, I can't wait any longer. It was tough, just like I said, finding these spots available in other places to teach, and it was getting frustrating. So I was like, I'm just doing it. I'll see what happens. Originally, I had two partners, and that fell apart. Um, but it's just jump in and just do it, and see what happens. And I started to break even probably around January of last year when we had to close down in March. And everyone's like, 5 years in business, that's when everything turns around. And I was like, woo, I'm up 5 years. And nope, closed down, lockdown, pandemic. So when I reopened, it was basically starting over. Little by little, some of the students came back, but not all of them. So I'm starting at the bottom again.
Yeah,
It's a tough road.
that's true. Very true. And that's kind of how I kind of looked at it is, I went several years. I've had Thomas with me forever. So he's that mainstay, but in going through and I remodeled my garage a couple years ago, and then I was like, okay, this is great. I promoted it, and nothing really happened. And I was like, 2020 rolls around. It's like, this is my year. This is my goal. And it's like, oh, by the way, there's this thing called COVID. And it's like, okay. And then it was, and I do Zoom classes now, but I had been set up for virtual for a long time. Like even my website, not the one I have now. The one I have now is set up a little bit differently. But even back in the day, I had like the ability for students to log in, see their entire curriculum. There were videos that they could follow, and I was set up like that I had no students, and I was still setting it up like that.
Mm.
And I had I had, a webcam, and I had a computer. I had all this stuff, but I wasn't using any of it. And I didn't know why. And so it was one of those where it's like, nope, I gotta make this start. I gotta do this. So, yeah, at some point, yes, I'd like to have enough students, but at another point, just like you made that jump in, I'll probably just end up having to make that jump in too. But
Yeah.
But with COVID, it kind of makes it a little bit hard because, even though I think right now my area is in phase 3, which allows sports. Like my daughter was able to play volleyball, and now they're allowing basketball and all that can happen. But it's been weird because like the way that our state has been, like gyms, you can have. And honestly, I've tried looking. I can't find the information. The last time I heard it was you're going to have one person per 300 square feet for a gym or martial arts school.
Wow.
And I was like, well, considering that my actual physical mat is 252 square feet, I can't even train by myself.
Right.
So it's like, so.
Yeah, my school's tiny. I mean, the building, the room is 600 square feet. The mat is definitely not. I can 2 people? I don't know. What is this? 1, 2. Can you do the math? It's small. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I fit. How many adults I can fit on here? 3, 6, 10 comfortably, I guess, adults. And
Okay.
I've had 15 or 14 people swinging sticks, so it was a little crunchy. But yeah, it's small. Yeah, I'm in the same boat as you. I'd have, not even able to train myself. I'll put just a little doll in the middle of the floor and put on a Bruce Lee movie, and that'll be the training for the doll. Can't.
Well, does the doll identify as a human? Because
I think it does. You want to see it? I have it actually. We use it for training for carrying a baby.
okay.
I had it in the window with a little stick. It was
Hmm.
I can't work cameras here.
Yeah.
Left, right is left, and it has a little arnese stick in there. It's a little baby.
Oh.
So we carry it around, and someone attacks you, and you got to fend them off. You throw the baby at them. No, we don't throw the baby at them. But then there's a little arnese stick carries.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I was hoping I get some younger kids interested in the FMA, but it's funny. I get people coming in. I'm interested in class with my child. How old's your child? 3. I start them at 8. I don't go usually younger than that. Probably because I don't have the patience for it. But one guy, I'm crossing the street, and the guy's like, "You own that school?" It's like, "Yeah." He goes, "I want to put my kid in." How old's your kid? 3. I was like, "I don't do 3. It's too young." He goes, "Well, he needs discipline." I was like, "You're the parent. He's 3. That's your job." Raise your child.
Yeah, let's see. A buddy of mine, he has a school down the street, and I think he'll go as young as 5. I think. I can't remember. But yeah, I get people asking for classes for 3 and 4-year-olds, and I'm like, just put them in the backyard.
Yeah.
Like, have them watch Power Rangers. I mean, that's but my eldest, he's 24, still loves the Power Rangers.
They're
Just,
awesome.
Yeah, I don't know. I just personally, I think that's just too young.
Yeah.
But the same friend who owns the school, he read some article where it basically talked about that usually the statistics say that if you get a student really, really young, then they will just kind of stay with you. I mean, so say you get that student at 3, they'll be with you until, depending on their mindset, until they get their black belt, which I have another question for you regarding that. Remind me. But until they get their black belt, or if they're, they want to be a dojo rat, then they'll just stay with you. So it's one of those financially, if you start them young and get them young, that could be that consistent money coming through.
Right.
And I'm like you, like 8, 9, that's kind of my limit. I did I call it a younglings class. And that was my daughter. I think she was 6. And I did a little summer thing where we got together, it was like a 30-minute class, and it was her and I think 2 or 3 other kids about the same age. And honestly, Tom, I was surprised because I thought that I wasn't going to have the patience. I thought, I was just like, what am I doing running a little 30, 45-minute daycare? I had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Like, it was almost like my new calling. Like, I could do this. Like, I just had a ball, and the kids had fun. But I don't know if I could do that. I mean, I probably like opening up a school and that just being me, I could probably go low. I don't know if I could do 3 though. That's just too much. They got to be potty trained. I mean, seriously. But and this gets into the question that I actually remembered. You get somebody starting really, really young, like, how old do you let them get to a black belt? What yeah, what is, like, if somebody starts training with you at 8, I don't know, how long does it take them to, if they stuck with you, how long would it take them to get to black belt?
It varies on their abilities. I had Diego started with me at 8, and it took him 4 years, 4 years to get it in the FMA, and he's doing the KMA, which is an offshoot of Wadang Do. I can't say Wadang Do. American Wadang, as we call it.
Okay.
And he's got another maybe year before he gets a black belt in that. So it really depends. I'd say it'll take anywhere from 3 to 6 years, depending on the individual's abilities. I
Okay.
don't rush it. I don't rush it. I don't put, like what you said earlier, I don't focus on belts. Belts are basically, yes, it's a great goal to have. But like when I had a lot of kids in here, you would ask them what's important, a belt or knowledge, and they all would say knowledge, except for that one kid
Awesome.
that liked my balls and joking around and say the belt, the belt. Shut up. But I try to instill in them. It's about the knowledge, not the testing.
Yeah.
Not the belt colors. But it's I do stripes and all that stuff because it keeps them motivated. But yeah, it's individual. Some kids will take longer than others. I don't want to push them.
Well, no, but say you take that one kid, they're really talented. They start with you at 8,
Mhm.
and say you said 3 to 6 years. So 1, 2, say 8, 9, 10, 11. So that's an 11-year-old black belt.
Right.
So I don't know. Do you give an 11-year-old black belt? I don't know, because this is, and I bring this up just because it did come up, but you have Tom Kalos.
Yes.
Yeah.
Kalos. My cousin Vic.
He and I don't know, I mean, he's kind of retired in a way, but he used to really push that a black belt shouldn't be younger than 18.
Right.
And I had a friend who had just closed his school. He really didn't want to do black belts until they were 16. So, is the knowledge important? Because you have an 11-year-old black belt, are they going to be able to deal with an adult? Now, you said that's an FMA?
FMA, they get it a little sooner than the KMA.
Okay. So then we can throw in, just to make things complicated, we can throw in, well, a 3-year-old with a knife is more deadly than an adult with a fist.
I'm not teaching a 3-year-old to use a knife.
No. I know that. But just,
This.
But you understand the analogy, though? Like, a knife is so deadly, it doesn't matter who's holding it.
Right.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. I guess I'm just there. For me, I'm kind of stuck in the middle. I believe that rank, if we're going to give rank, should be given on a skill basis. They've attained these certain skills, they're good enough, but at the same time, it's like, I don't know, 11, 12, 13, black belt's just a little too much. I think there should be some maturity there.
mm-hmm.
I don't know. What's your thoughts on that?
I kind of fall in the same realm as you. I don't, and we have this discussion all the time, my friends and I, about the black belts. And that's where you find the people give junior black belts, and just to hold them back until they're 16 or 18, and they don't teach them the full curriculum that the adults train in. So it's they take, let's just say it's a 3-year curriculum for black belt. They'll stretch it out to 5 years for the kids somehow. And then it is, what do you do with the kid that knows everything and is awesome and can do all this? Why doesn't he deserve a black belt? What's the meaning of a black belt to you? that you would hold him back, or give him a black belt. And then if you give him a first degree black belt, when does he get a second degree black belt? And third, and by the time he's 20, he's a 10th degree. We got a lot of those out there, right? You could buy that online anyway for 250 degree, I think. But yeah, it's a very controversial subject. I was changing the curriculum a little for the kids,
Mhm.
but I don't have any little kids anymore. What I get are more teenagers, so I do the adult program for them, and I'll give them a black belt as long as they can do the stuff. So
Right
if
on.
you're all right, here's one. If you're 12 years old and a super genius, do you not go to college? How many of those are out there?
There's a few.
Yeah. So what's the big deal? What's the difference? So I get a 15-year-old taking nuclear physics and can design nuclear bombs and stuff, and he's only 14. So I give a black belt guy, a 14-year-old kid that can kick you in the head. He's kicking one guy in the head. This other kid's blown up the world.
Okay.
What's the difference?
That's a great argument. I like that. I like
why
that.
why hold someone back because of their age?
Yeah.
I see these freaking kids playing saxophone. They're 11 years old. I want to shoot myself. It's like they're amazing. Where do you come from? Well, any instrument. It's like they're like aliens implanted something in their brain. Bram had something to do with that, I think.
Possibly.
Possibly. But I don't. And again, the maturity thing comes into play. But
Yeah.
I'm not teaching them something that I don't teach them how to use a knife.
Mhm.
They know how to use a stick. They know how to defend against a knife, so they know kind of how to use a knife, but that's not their focus. When they step out of this dojang, I don't even know what they say in Korean, not in Korean, in Filipino, what we call our training area. But when they step out, they know what they can use and what they can't use. You can't stab someone in the eye.
Right.
You can punch them in the face. Well, yeah, but can you do that on school grounds? And I try to instill on them how to get away with certain techniques and how to hit. And what you learn in here, you have to adjust out there. You can't
Right.
go. We're not Cobra Kai, okay? It's not finish him, which there are some dojos that still do that. But
Yes.
I try to get that. So my black belts, when I have them, except for that one, well, understand, what is right and what is wrong.
Which goes to I don't know, goes to show about how you teach. The values that you put into your art. So
You need some moral teachings in this world. There's so many fights go on in the high schools over here, and I hear some crazy stories. And there was a group of kids fighting in front of my house.
Mhm.
And it's like, go away, just go home and freaking play video games or play some stick. Do you know what stickball is? Play some stickball. Just get out in front of my house. And they video it and they think it's great, because no one's teaching them, what's right and wrong. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it's a whole bunch of stories about the world today off of that, but we won't.
Yeah.
So yeah. So do you give a kid, a 14-year-old or a 12-year-old, a black belt? Ed, do you give a kid, a 14-year-old, a 12-year-old, a black belt? Junior black belts.
Junior black.
So that's your how you get away with it. 16 and up. So right. Can you hear him?
I hear a little muffle.
Oh, you're muffled. So he teaches karate.
Okay.
This is Ed, by the way. Come in and say hello.
Oh, Ed.
Not mine.
That's okay. This is Ed. This is Ed, crimped Ed.
Oh, Mish, how are you?
Hey,
Good to see you.
yeah.
Crashing your interview all of a sudden. I don't know how that
Yeah,
happened.
no worries. No worries. Maybe we can have you on as another guest in the future.
Anyway,
I'm good for talking to anybody, but yeah, on the topic.
so the topic, the way my school handles it, you become a black belt at 16 as an adult.
Okay.
For that, we do a junior black belt, which in our case is a black belt with a white stripe. So it indicates it's a different rank.
Okay.
And the curriculum is shortened. So as a, say, 15 and under, you would be the equivalent of a first Q as an adult. So whatever that is in most schools, it's a brown belt with a stripe or something like that.
Okay.
And we split it again for, you guys were talking with Tom about young kids. So if you take someone in at, 5 or 6 years old and they train with you for 6 years and now they're 12, and they've gone through the colors of the rainbow, the next step is a black belt. Well, that kid's getting a black belt with 2 white stripes because he's not a teenager yet.
Okay.
And so what it does is that it keeps the kids that are interested in training in martial arts. It allows them to have the same short-term goals because the color sequence is the same, but we just add that white stripe to the belt. So they have the same short-term goals as all your other students. The curriculum is compressed. But that way, when they get to be 15 years old and you say to them, now you have to start taking adult classes, they still have that short-term goal of, I got to get my full black belt. And the logic behind it is that if I'm 25 years old and I've been training with you for 6 years or 7 years and I finally get to Shodan, but this other kid over here is 11 and he outranks me, but he can't perform me. He can't outfight me. He doesn't have the same, not only physical understanding, but mental and maturity and emotional understanding. Why does he have the same rank? Now, the topic, you could probably talk to I'm the king of cliches. If you ask 10 martial artists this question, you're going to get 11 opinions.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, absolutely. It's a touchy subject.
It's just everybody handles it. It's just the way we handled it is that, I guess the correlation, like part of it is you have to kind of understand the history of the belt system and where it comes from. It's an artificial system,
Right.
It was imposed on the martial arts as late as the early 1900s. It's not something that goes back into antiquity. And that's another, I don't want to take up all your time, but it's an artificial system. So make it work for your school the best way it does for you and your students. For us, where I teach, it's that we divide the kids away from the adults. You were talking before about prodigies. So to me, like a first degree black belt is like graduating high school. Okay. So some kids skip a year.
Yeah.
But they still have to go. They still have to pass the SATs and the Regents, and they have to pass the finals.
Right.
But then what do? They go to college. Now they go to school with adults. So to me, that's the black belt. The black belt is getting to the point. Shodan literally means in Japanese beginner's rank. So the black belt is not the end point. It's actually your beginning. In traditional circles, it means that you finally reached a point where you're ready for your teacher to start the instruction.
Right.
So for us, we divide it by age and maturity. Other schools just say, here's your belt. You've completed the curriculum. It's an individual thing.
Right.
I'm gonna get out of the screen now.
Yeah, no, Ed, no, thank you too. Thank you.
Take care, Miss. Thank you.
I had a kid try out my stick class the other day. He's a second degree black belt in Taekwondo. He's 10
Okay.
years old. 10 years old. Definitely not mature. He was definitely he was 10, so he was more like an 8 or 9 year old. The way he was acting
Wow.
in there. So whatever they do down in his school in Florida to get him to second degree, they dealt with it their way. Whether it was they paid for the rank or he earned it. And he sat there telling me all the stuff he did on his test and how he had to break cement, and so it doesn't sound like it was easy, but he's 10 and he's got a second degree.
Yeah.
Which is kind of, see, when you go into something else, I wouldn't give anyone. I don't even
Yeah,
think
I had a family come in and they had all done Taekwondo, but they wanted to start learning Kyusho and Ruku Kempo, and so their son, I can't remember how old he was at the time. I want to say around maybe 11, 12, something like that. And he was a second degree black belt at the time in Taekwondo, and but because he was under the age of 16, he was considered a junior black belt. But at the age of 16, whatever Dan rank he was, he could basically reapply to the Kukiwon and then be issued an adult version at 16. So I was like, okay, well, 16-year-old, he's a second degree black belt. But of course, all of that involves money.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yep.
they pay for they go through, they learn, they pay for their initial, and then they pay again to be upgraded to the adult at the appropriate age.
Right.
So I guess it's all based on organization and school, and I don't know. I just wanted to, that had come up and I was figuring, I'll see what Tom thinks. But
I don't think. I try not to think it. It's bad.
Well, we talked all this time. You brought up your saxophone.
Yes.
You're like this rock star. You post these videos of you playing out in the public, and
Yeah.
how long have you been playing that?
Oh, geez. I'm not gonna tell you my age now, but I have to figure it out. Since I was 14.
Okay, so a while.
40 years, I guess.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Just think about it. I played a lot of big name places in Manhattan and jammed with some famous people that I didn't even know who they were at the time. I got off the stage, "What you put your stuff with?" No, and they would tell me. It's like, wow. But I went back to my old roots and started doing jazz.
Okay.
So I'm trying now. I was doing rock and blues, and get the phone call, "I need you to play this." I'd go. But I started doing jazz. I do a solo thing. I still play in a rock band and stuff every now and then. Go to blues open mics, but I got background music, and I just play to that. And my whole goal was to hang out in the corner, play some atmosphere music.
Mm-hmm.
I hooked up with this agent. He's like, "Oh, you got to be on stage and you got to entertain people." It's like, I got to tell jokes. What do you mean entertain people? I play saxophone. It's just so So I'm like in front, by myself, playing in front of people. It's weird. To me, it's just weird.
Yeah.
There's no band behind me. If there's a band behind me, it'd be a little different, But it's fun.
Right on.
Yeah, I'll be famous.
Yeah, I've seen some of the videos that you posted. You're not half bad.
Oh, thank you.
You're a lot better than me. I don't play an instrument.
Okay.
When I was younger, my mom wanted me to get into she wanted me to play the piano, so she put me into piano lessons, and the teacher actually told her after I don't know how many weeks or months went by, she's like, you need to stop wasting your money.
Oh, jeez.
So yeah. So that was, and I did play the violin in grade school, but that really didn't go anywhere.
No.
So yeah, not really a musical instrument person. That's probably why I suck at math. They say that good music, influences your skill in math.
Yeah, it's
So-
very mathematical when you break it down. There are these, speaking of geniuses, these guys that they talk about music, and it's just like, yeah, you have to be a math genius the way they're explaining it. It's like, there's 12 notes. What are you doing? There's just 12 notes. Just play the freaking 12 notes and just make them sound good. But they break it down, and they'll analyze people's solos, and it's just like insane. You listen to them, and you're like, oh wow, I never noticed that. But there's just 12 notes. Just play the damn instrument. It's kind of like they take the fun out of it sometimes.
Yeah.
They make you start to worry. Did I do something wrong? Did I play the wrong tritone substitution? What am I doing? It's just does it sound good? Then you're fine. Yeah? It's jazz. You can't make a mistake. The right note is always a half a step away. So it's just the way it is. Ed knows what I'm talking about. So he's laughing. Everyone makes fun of jazz because you could play every wrong note possible, and people are like, "Yeah, that was awesome! Yeah." I could squeak, and they'd be like, "That was the greatest high note in the world." Yeah, it was a squeak. I don't know.
Awesome.
So maybe that's why I pick jazz. I can get away with things.
Right on. Well, that's good. So, if somebody wants to train with you, kind of coming to the end, coming up on an hour and a half, actually.
Oh wow!
I've enjoyed this talk.
Too.
So, somebody wants to train with you. How do they get a hold of you?
You can go here.
Oh, it's upside down. Flip it over.
Is it? I can't work cameras. It's just go to tacticsmartialarts.com.
Okay, which I'll eventually put in the description below.
There you go. I have my phone number, email, and you just come and train. It's, there's no. I don't interview people, which I probably should. Some people I get. You just say I want to come in, and you come in if you're interested in the FMA or locks and Kyusho and the Korean arts we do, and they all complement each other very well. We have a blast. We're not too serious. I don't think we're serious at all, but we have fun. We're very straightforward in what we do. It's not too fancy and works, and it's very street minded. At least I try to be street minded. But yeah, just look down. Is it going to be there? Where's it going to be?
It'll be after this goes live, I'll put it in the description below.
It'll be down there. Description below. Yeah, just give a call or an email. Doors always.
And you're on Facebook, Instagram, all those social medias.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm all there because you have to be.
Honestly, I hate Facebook. I'm not really. I just started. Well, I didn't just start, but I would like to post on Instagram more, but I suck at it. The only reason I was on social media to begin with was because my wife's daughter, she got on MySpace, and so we both got MySpace's accounts to kind of monitor her. And then, of course, you have a business and you try and promote the business, and then there's all this. I like YouTube. YouTube, post videos. There's not a lot of, well, there is some drama, but yeah, it's, I don't know. But I'll put all of your stuff in the blurb below once this goes live. So if you've gotten into the end of this and I haven't posted it, just wait. Okay. All right. Let me do some, I'm going to hide you really quick and I'm going to show this. So if you, follow DojoCast, of course we have Facebook. No, I don't like it. So Facebook at DojoCast, YouTube, I don't have a special channel, so it's just under Sensei Mish. And of course, you can follow me on Instagram, Sensei Mish. We have a website, DojoChatPodcast.com. If you want to be on this show, get on there, submit an application. I try and reach out to people I know. and see if they want to be on. Tom was so nice to agree. But if I don't know you, but you want to chat martial arts, then fill that out. And I don't have a show planned for next Saturday because I will be in Indiana teaching. And of course, I didn't put that graphic up, but I'm teaching at Jim Corn's camp. However, I have kind of put out a little blurb to the guy saying, hey, I want to do podcasts either Saturday or Sunday. So if you're listening to this and you don't see who's going to be on next week, we're going to be on live at some point. Don't know who's going to be on there, but we've got a bunch of different martial artists, mainly Kyusho guys, but that's okay. We got to promote those fake martial arts.
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fake martial arts is the way to go.
There's actually somebody. So I do follow hashtag Kyusho on Instagram, and it's this one guy. I don't actually follow him directly, but it's called Fake Martial Arts, or his handle is either at Fake Martial Arts or Fake Black Belts or whatever. But he posts a bunch of Kyusho stuff. Do you know who the guy is, or have you?
No, he is. I've spoken to him. He has several different like YouTube accounts, and I found on it, and he does he puts himself up doing Kyusho and making fun of it, and yet he's hitting people, knocking them out. I asked him about it. He goes, I respect you guys so much. He goes, how far it's come. He goes, but people laugh at it. It's comedy. It's like, well, you're an idiot, but he's cyberbullying. He's teaching his kids to cyberbully. What's his legacy going to be when his daughter, yes, I know who you are. His daughter grows up and, Daddy, what'd you do? Oh, I made fun of people on the internet. Well, isn't that cyberbullying? But it sold t-shirts that say, fake martial artist, but teach his own. Yeah, I know what you're about.
Okay. Yeah. I was thinking about reaching out to him. I do want to talk to Rob, the guy that, from what is it, McDojoLife.com or McDojo Life. He and I have chatted over Instagram. He's actually a pretty nice guy, and he doesn't give me a lot of crap, mainly because I tell him that it's my idea, what we talked about earlier, Kyusho's for enhancement, and that the whole no touch is it's for show. It's not combat applicable.
Right.
So he hasn't blasted me. So I do want to get Rob on and just talk about that. I wouldn't mind talking to the fake martial arts guy. I might have to actually send him a DM and see if he wants to be on.
He's an interesting character. You gotta yeah.
Okay.
He was gonna infiltrate my summit one year.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. I told him it wouldn't be a good idea. So he didn't do it. Yeah, he seems like a nice guy. He's just, he's just got his thoughts about life that don't agree with other people's.
Yeah, it is what it is.
Exactly.
All right, Tom, this has been a pleasure. Thank you for being on.
Thank you.
Any parting words to the people who are still watching? Or who will watch in the future?
Who will watch in the future? Come to my school and train.
There we go. Train with Tom.
Just train anywhere. Just get some training in. Go to Mish's garage and train, and just be prepared for the world apocalypse and the zombies coming at us. And I don't know what to tell you.
All right. Well, Harvey said it was a good show, so at least one person liked it. All right, Tom. I'm gonna click us so we're not live anymore.
Okay.
And until the next show,